It is not true what the Washington Post has published recently, that foreign workers in the United Arab Emirates are facing a great deal of discrimination regarding basic human rights. The article referred to very few cases where foreign workers were incurred big hospital bills that they could not afford paying. As a result, their children were denied birth certificates. The article goes further to portray falsely foreign workers' family who are afraid of the police and are viewed as committing unlawful acts, having signed papers to acknowledge their debts to the hospitals. Since they cannot afford paying these bills, they can be subject to arrest anytime.
Once again, the Washington Post manages to write a completely one-sided, grotesquely exaggerated article relying on hearsay, anonymous accounts, and hyperbole. It focuses on very few cases of extreme poverty and extreme situations where the families cannot afford to pay the bills and their children then are denied birth certificate. In reality, the UAE is 90% foreign workers. In recent years, the kafala system, the system of labor, once infamous for its harshness towards foreign laborers, has been reformed to protect all rights of foreign workers. In fact, the employers are required to meet criteria before they even hire somebody. They're required to make sure that all the medical rights, the financial rights of the workers are protected, that they get sick leave, that they get opportunity to visit their families, and of course, that they get full compensation. As far as issue of families and women, UAE has been on the forefront of reforming and protecting women's rights with granting private maternity leave to women for the first time in and leading the region in this endeavor. And additionally, women are becoming increasingly welcomed, integrated into the system, and even the rights of foreign worker women are protected in this way.
These are exaggerated stories, and the realities of foreign families are different. 90% of the Emiratis' 10 million population are foreign. All of them have access to all the services a government can provide. In addition, the Emirati government has been initiating many reforms to improve the living conditions of its residents, regardless of their nationalities.
I've read this article in the Washington Post, and like so many similar articles, this really is an unfair hit piece on the United Arab Emirates. It literally lists only 2 examples, and then the headline refers to thousands of people based on an anonymous senior Philippine government officials. Why would they be anonymous if it's such an important issue? We have to remember the UAE provides jobs for 7.8 million migrants. It provides them with opportunities. This article should have instead focused on these opportunities that the UAE is able to provide millions of people and to their families. Even if there were a small issue here, even if it's in the thousands, that would be literally 0.05% of the total migrants. But this article is trying to make it seem as if this is a general problem. Now, these specific cases mentioned in the article, only 2 cases, have to do with difficult childbirth situations that required hospitalization for months at very expensive cost. These 2 examples are situations where these patients were unable to pay their hospital bills, and they claim that they could therefore not receive their birth certificate. Only deep down in the article does the author admit that the UAE law and regulations do not allow hospitals to withhold birth certificates. These people can simply go to the police and request assistance for these hospitals to obey the law. Now, there are people who, spread news to them, information to them that, oh, if you go to the police, you'll get arrested for some other reason and deported. And I'm sympathetic to that. I mean, here in the United States, we have illegal immigrants that are afraid to contact law enforcement for the same reasons.
For instance, in 2015, the kafala system changed. The new reforms terminated the practices tied to a sponsorship system that organized the entry and residence of foreign workers and also would grant the permission to change jobs only through the consent of the employer. Now the employees can change jobs without getting an approval from their employers. The practice known as substitution employment, whereby workers can accept lower payment than previous agreed upon, had also ended. In addition, the United Arab Emirates is the first country in the GCC to permit paid maternity leave for women in the private sector.
Once again, these propaganda campaigns are aimed not to adjust any misperfections that happen in any systems, but to attack a country that has led the way on reforms in human rights, on protecting women's rights, and on overcoming the very practices that that needed to be reformed. Instead of assisting and providing positive reinforcement and positive feedback, the Western media, such as Washington Post, is looking for any minor issue to focus on and to undermine these very real and ongoing positive changes.
According to the magazine Global Payroll, which is published by the Global Payroll Management Institute, the Ministry of Labor in the Emirates requires 2 sets of documents, an establishment labor card and an establishment immigration card. This must be done by businesses before they can hire foreign laborers. These documents outline the legal necessities for hiring foreign workers, and they embrace the following measures such: working hours, government health cards, work contracts, workers' compensation, annual leave entitlements, sick leave, end-of-service benefits, and others. These benefits are extended to all workers regardless of their race, ethnicity, genders, religious, or any other factor.
The UAE, however, has specific laws protecting immigrants, migrants. For example, under UAE law, migrants are entitled to annual vacation, regular paid wages. They're even given 45 days of maternity leave. Employers are forbidden from confiscating an employee passport. They cannot force employees to work more than 8 hours a day.
Importantly, the UAE has declared Federal Law number 33 of 2021, which will be enforced as of February 2, 2022, which will grant equal payment for women and will introduce flexible work contracts and models. This ensures many advantages for foreign workers, including combining work at more than one job to earn more money.
If a woman is either widowed or divorced under UAE law, she's allowed to stay in the country without any work permit for a full year while trying to find a job. The list of protections goes on and on and on. The bottom line is that the UAE is not only the land of tolerance and coexistence, it's also the land of opportunity for literally millions of people seeking a better life. There are always examples of unfortunate situations, but generalizing them is completely unhelpful and completely misleading.
Finally, according to Aetna, which is an American-managed healthcare company, in Dubai, all employers are required by law to provide health insurance coverage for all of their employees. There are many health insurance companies in the UAE, some of which offer international cover under well-known international brands. All these facts belie the allegations of the Washington Post, which is always looking to raise suspicions about the UAE. They are really the fake news. Hey, Maria Malouf here. Please click to like and subscribe to Maria Malouf TV YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.